Hello, and welcome to another episode or edition of the lives, the TikTok lives. I'm trying to do these with more frequency. My goal is to do one every day this week, and it's Wednesday, and I've done 3 so far, so I'm on track. So today we're going to be talking about gut health, liver health, most importantly, and its influence on your type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, insulin resistance, reactive hypoglycemia. If you have blood sugar issues, your liver is in the mix, straight up. And if you are having consistent blood sugar issues that have persisted to the point that you have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes or insulin resistance or any of those conditions, then you absolutely need to be thinking about what's going on in your gut and most importantly, what's going on in your liver. Our liver is like the King Kong in our body. King Kong is our heart, because without our heart, it's game over. But the liver is definitely a capo in that mafia, I'll say, because if your liver is unhealthy, your whole body feels it. If your liver is congested, you feel it in your skin, you feel it in your digestion, you'll feel it in your immunity, you won't sleep well, your thyroid might be off. And the thing about the liver is often if you have many different things happening and you're trying to fix those things individually, in tandem, but individually, often if you go to someone who is going to test your GI or who is going to just do some deeper investigatory work and healing, you will find that your liver is probably not doing its best. Once you release the pressure off the liver and you reboot it and you get it back to optimal function, your body usually follows suit in other ways as well. Inflammation will go down. Your skin, if you have eczema. I had eczema from my chest to my ankles and everywhere in between. It was the worst time of my life. And if I hadn't done the work on my liver, I would still have that condition persisting in my life. And so I just want to say, if you've just jumped on, you can ask your question in the comment section below on your screen, and I hopefully will be able to answer it. Liver health, gut health, type 2 diabetes, those are the questions that I like to answer anyway. But if you haven't ever looked into your liver and its health, then maybe it's time to start. Certainly if you're dealing with anything blood sugar related. And so, a lot of people will say that the liver is self-cleaning. It's our cleansing organ. It cleans the body. And yes, the liver does do that. But similar to something like a garburator is meant to compact garbage, and it does an amazing job of that. But if you don't clean your garburator, that thing stinks. It stops working as effectively. And I believe, and I kind of think of the liver in the same vibe, in the same headspace, because if my liver is having to do all this detoxification and I'm counting on it and it's doing a good job thus far, it stopped doing as good of a job because I obviously had eczema, then it's then it's time to clean it out and boost it and give it some things that help give it life. So one of my favorite things for the liver is castor oil packs. So again, you'll see a lot of people say have lemon and water in the morning, take milk thistle, and that's great. That's fantastic. Those are great. And they do help boost the liver. That being said, we need to start looking at the mechanics, the functionality. And if our liver isn't able to just effectively move things through it because it's congested, helping it do that is going to benefit, again, all the conditions that happen as a ripple effect of liver health issues. And so castor oil packs are great because you wear them on your liver. You can wear them overnight when you sleep, which is one way that I do it. You can also wear it in the day with a heating pad on it for an hour. That's another way that I do it if I know I'm not going to be able to do it in the evening, when I'm sleeping. And it helps to increase smooth muscle contractions. It helps to open up the liver's detox pathways and move things through. So if you're someone who's I'm gung-ho, I'm healing, I'm doing coffee enemas, or I'm doing colon hydrotherapy, I'm doing a parasite cleanse, you absolutely need to be doing something like a castor oil pack at the same time, because that's going to help your body move things through. It also helps with smooth muscle contractions. So when you wear a castor oil pack, it helps like move things through, like your muscles can, like those smooth muscles contract, and it helps it do so. The thing that you want to remember about castor oil packs, if you are someone who menstruates, is that you should not wear it during your menstrual cycle. It will, because of those smooth muscle contractions, the uterus is also a smooth muscle, and that will lead to, lots of bleeding. And you don't want to bleed. Some people pass out. It hasn't happened to me, but I've definitely bled a lot where I'm like, holy smokes, what's going on? And it was the castor oil pack. I was just like a little too gung-ho. So that's one thing to consider. And also, if you are trying to improve your blood sugar, your glucose, your inflammation, your PCOS for the purpose of conception, you want to make sure that once you try, so after ovulation, that is when you cease the use of this castor oil pack because of the smooth muscle contractions. Again, the uterus is a smooth muscle. We don't want to contract it in any way, shape, or form when, we're trying to conceive. We have tried to conceive, like ovulation has happened, you gave it a whirl, and then also for implantation. You just don't wear a castor oil pack at all during pregnancy. So once you've made that attempt, you're going to want to pull back. Okay, some questions came in. Someone said, is water retention caused by diabetes? It can be caused by diabetes. It can be caused by other things as well. In the case where it's something that you're like, oh my God, this is so random. Like, it's my blood sugar, but why am I retaining water? One, ask yourself, how well is your diabetes being managed? Sometimes these things are as a result of like something that you have being poorly resolved or unresolved. Are you flattening your glucose curves? Like, are you sleeping through the night? Like, are you eating meals that are balanced? Are you, eliminating effectively and going like number 2? Like, are you drinking enough water? Because, often when we hold on to things, whether that's weight or we keep things in our body, it's because our body doesn't believe it's going to get more. And so you need to fix some of the things that are like the precursor to. That's why when you deal with a lot of things and just dealing with the symptom of something can be terrible. In the Blood Sugar Fix, which is the 12-week program that I run, we talk about 3 pillars to reverse type 2 diabetes, because it's not just one thing. It's first figuring out the blood sugar spikes and dips. That's the first pillar that we deal with. Because once you figure out how to flatten your glucose curve, you stop with the consistent inflammatory response. You stop creating more taxing for your liver, because the blood sugar spikes and dips have flattened themselves and it's like no more. Then you move into the deeper work, because blood sugar for some people is like the whole problem. But for a lot of people, as a result of you had blood sugar issues and now you have other things. So then gut health and liver health is the second pillar in the Blood Sugar Fix, because it's so important to reboot the things that might have been impaired by the fact that your body was diverting energy to just simply balance its blood sugar, as opposed to having good abundant digestion, having good liver health. And so you've got to go back and you have to look at those areas and reboot them. One of the things about gut health and gut healing that is important to remember is that your gut and your liver are both gut health. When I talk about that, I mean them both. But is that you don't really force and constrict and your way to gut healing. It's actually one of those things you have to really take your foot off the gas and do a lot of gentle things. Because if you try and go hard at it and you constrict, where do you feel constriction the most? In your stomach. And when you constrict, your body believes it's in a stress state. We are going to fight for our life or run for it. So it takes all the energy that you need in your gut and it puts it to your arms and your legs. So you don't want to do that. You want to be really not cool about it. I mean, that's just the way I would describe it, but it's a flow thing. And then the last pillar, again, with truly reversing type 2 diabetes, any condition really, like eczema, psoriasis, is then to heal the damage that's been done. And that's the inflammation. If you have had inflammatory responses, the inflammation begins and then it lives. It stays there unless you do something about it. And in the process of flattening glucose curves and working on gut and liver health, you do release some of that inflammation, being mindful of the things and the strategies that are going to help you actually reverse inflammation. Studies, science, and also like practical application is very important. The reason I like layer it into 3 pillars is because I think just giving you all of it at once is very overwhelming. And when you're sick with something, you're already overwhelmed, quite frankly. And so you need something that's going to help you like take the step by steps that's going to mean the most. So, I mean, I always say in these, I'm super long-winded. I go on tangents, and that was one to answer. Is water retention caused by diabetes? And the answer was potentially, but potentially not. It might just be you have other things to fix, and that is the result. Can I suggest good brands for castor oil packs? The castor oil pack that I have, I wish I had it over here, is the Queen of Thrones castor oil pack. I'm not sure if I have a link in my bio, but it's just Queen of Thrones. Check my bio link first. I might have the link in there. If I don't, sorry. It's just the Queen of Thrones castor oil packs. I love them because it's already done. You can buy a kit. It has the oil in it. It's a really good high quality castor oil. It has the castor oil pack. It has instructions. It has the whole meal deal, the full meal deal. You can also make your own castor oil pack. You can look on Pinterest or on just like Google it, and you'll definitely find YouTube videos and all kinds of things. But if you make your own castor oil pack, it might get messy. And I don't say that to convince you to buy one. I just say that as like, know that whatever sheets you have on your bed, whatever duvet you have on your bed, that if you make your own, you might want to, put on something you don't care about. Because until you get your sea legs with making a castor oil pack, it can get messy. But if I had to suggest a brand, it would be Queen of Thrones. How am I doing a parasite cleanse? I am currently not doing a parasite cleanse. There are many parasite cleanses. I recommend you go to someone who is an herbalist or traditional Chinese medicine doctor trained in like Eastern medicine, an acupuncturist that might have a slant in that direction, to give you guidance on what herbs to take and all of that and the protocol. Because if you're doing a true parasite cleanse, like you've got H. pylori or something like that, then you absolutely need to be under like the guidance of someone who just knows what you're doing, because they can be very punishing. You feel like shit in the beginning when you do a parasite cleanse, because those things don't die off easily. And then you have to do a lot of work, because like once they die, you have to get them out. And often if you have a parasite, there's like some sluggish digestion going on, the reserves aren't there. So you got to do things like colon hydrotherapy, wear castor oil packs, do coffee enemas. Like you got to really go hard. A parasite cleanse is not for the weak, honestly. If you are for the faint, or you are trying to do things like tiptoe into healing, a parasite cleanse is not where you start. But generally a parasite cleanse is super effective, but it requires dedication. And we're talking like 3 to 6 months of like true dedication. And the people who do it, I'm like, amen. I did something similar. I believed I had H. pylori, and it's been confirmed by like people I've worked with after I've healed, but I did all the things. Gave up every food, no sugar, coffee enemas, castor oil packs, like the whole thing. And it worked, but it's hard work. So that's a parasite cleanse. I'm sure if you look up on this app, you will find so many people that can give you at least like point you in a good direction. Just scrolling for questions, sorry. Sorry, I don't know why they don't make it easier. How do you get rid of inflammation? So one of the best ways to get rid of inflammation is if you drink. Sorry to say it, you gotta stop. Alcohol is the most inflammatory thing that we do consistently and like recreationally, completely accepted. Like it's fine. Like, but the thing about it is it's really bad for you. It causes mega inflammation. And if you get really bad hangovers, that is inflammation in your, like, happening. That's what it is. And so, and actually one of the best ways to get rid of a hangover is not eating something greasy. It's not drinking water. In fact, it's dealing with inflammation, because that's what's happening when you drink. You are causing inflammation. So if you want to reverse inflammation and you're someone who like loves a wine, 1 or 2 a day, or you binge on the weekend, I mean, no shade. I also love alcoholic beverages, but causes a lot of inflammation. Another thing is returning to a whole food diet. If you are someone who is eating processed food, and that includes things that have like no sugar, 0 sugar, aspartame, all of those things. Come at me if you want. Those are not whole foods. And how you heal your body is whole foods. Because if you're doing things that have a lot of additives, that is what your liver has to deal with. And when we're trying to heal the body and we are overloading our liver with all of these things it has to do, it does not make for a healed body. Yes, you will potentially lose weight if you eat all sugar-free things. And, if you were drinking pop and now you drink like sugar-free, water talk stuff, you will absolutely lose weight. But there comes a point in that journey as well where you have to go, okay, well, in order for me to not just have lost weight, but also whatever else is going on, sometimes you have to go to a whole food spot. Your body knows what to do with it. Your body can access nutrients from it, and it gets rid of the rest. And that is easy. You just want to keep it easy for your body when you're inflamed. You also don't want to work out too hard. If you are someone who loves like a punishing F4-5 and you're dealing with inflammation, you got to stop doing that. You have to start doing things that are, again, more in like flow, like Pilates, yoga, walking, hiking, things like that. And not even like a crazy hike for like 17 hours because that's stress on the body. The result of stress is inflammation. And so we want to reduce our stress, manage it, breathe. In the blood sugar fix, there's a whole week on mindset because there is like actual science. I've looked it up. I'm sharing it in the program that says that like what goes on in your mind and how you breathe and how you think and the thoughts you think actually make a huge difference in whether you heal or not. And so I think it's really important. And what that does for the body, like the belief in like itself, really does take the edge off of some stress. Really. And I can say that as someone who had the most health anxiety and still has it sometimes because of the journey that I had to go on, that like understanding like that, belief and affirmations and all of that really does make a difference, has settled me in quite a way. But inflammation is like a multi-pronged approach. And again, if you have blood sugar issues going on, if you have gut stuff going on, you have inflammation going on. So you cannot fix inflammation unto its own. You have to figure out what is causing the inflammation in order to get rid of it. Is my psoriasis from my insulin resistance? It might not be from your insulin resistance. It's probably from your gut. But your insulin resistance and your blood sugar inconsistencies are causing you to have flare-ups. Absolutely. But once you deal with the flare-ups, i.e. the blood sugar, then you've got to go deeper with the gut stuff because that's usually where it's coming from. And then once you fix that, again, you will feel so much relief. That's how I felt. But then you got to go deeper and just sort of like reverse the inflammation. And the thing about it is once you go through all the pillars of like blood sugar, gut, and liver, and then inflammation, by that time, in the 3 months of the program, or just even if you do it on your own, giving yourself 3 months, 4 months, if you do these things consistently for 3 or 4 months, it becomes your lifestyle eventually. Like at that point, you feel so good that you don't want to go back, but you also are in the habit of doing it. But understanding that the first, month, 6 weeks, that's where you're starting to learn new things. And, again, having support, having people around you, having like a strategy, a playbook to help you get to where you want to go helps. But also just giving yourself grace that doing anything new is hard sometimes. But also, again, that affirming and belief that it's working and that it works for you and belief in yourself to be able to do it helps see you through some of those like early days. But I also say in my programs and like everywhere on these is that you got to use the excitement in the beginning to set yourself up for success. Because eventually the excitement wanes and like life comes into the mix. You know what I mean? Like in the first couple weeks, you're like, yeah, I'm not drinking. I'm meal planning. I'm doing all of these things. I'm like you weight training, like you're doing all the things and you feel good. You're excited. But then, at the 6-week mark, maybe you have to go away for work. Or maybe at the 6-week mark, like something just like ramps up in your life and you're just like so busy. That is when all of the work that you do in the beginning excitedly, you're prepping meals, you're freezing them, you're setting up a plan, you're working out, you're making sure to incorporate movement into your life, you're like wearing arm weights, whatever it is. So that when you get to that 6th week and like life hits you upside the head, then you're like, oh my God, I'm so happy I still have meals prepped. I feel good in my body. I have more energy for what it takes because I've been walking more. I've been drinking more water. I'm not drinking pop or whatever the case is. And so I always just say, like, set yourself up in the beginning when you're feeling excited about doing this new thing, because what that will do is prove itself to you when life starts to get in the mix and you're not as excited. Like, you're still excited, but you're just like, again, it just becomes life. Someone says, love your videos. I'm pre-diabetic. Welcome. I hope I'm helping. Is apple cider vinegar good for insulin resistance? It's the best. It's amazing. I also shared in a video yesterday, Good Idea. It's this product that I love. I'm obsessed with. It gives you the same results and sometimes more that apple cider vinegar gives you when you drink it before meals, but it tastes like sparkling water, like flavored sparkling water. It's insane. It's delicious. I'm obsessed with it. I am in Canada and you can only order it in the States. I have paid, like, I'm paying like through the nose for like US conversion and shipping just to get it here because it is that good. There's nothing like it. I've never seen anything like it. And the reason is it has 5 amino acids, so like proteins in it, but you can't taste it. And then also when it's with chromium, which you also can't taste, it just has an amazing effect on blood sugar. It's like, wow. So go check out my video that I posted yesterday about it. In the video I just posted before I started this, I use it as the sparkling water. Like, if you see sparkling water in any of my videos now, know that it's probably Good Idea, because I'm never going back. But apple cider vinegar and Good Idea will give you the same results, about a 20 to 30% reduction in post-meal glucose if you drink it like 1 to 30 minutes before you consume your meals. The way I've been drinking Good Idea is just like before my like sweet coffee in the morning, after like bone broth and like I've had something to eat. And then I drink that and like the coffee has no effect. And before I would, I'd probably work out right after I had the coffee just to make sure. But with this, it's like I could get away with doing my workout way later. It's amazing. So, again, long answer to a short question. Yes, apple cider vinegar is amazing for insulin resistance, but if you cannot stomach it, there is also another offer, Good Idea. It's linked in my bio. Just check it out. It's so amazing. I love it. Also watch the video from yesterday. Okay. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Sorry. They honestly, like, gotta do something about how they make these questions. And if there is another way and someone knows, just comment. I would love that. Okay. Okay. Someone said, hi, did the monthly membership and recently, and I'm watching your videos. Awesome. Welcome. Thanks. Can I take a fiber supplement, and when is it best to take them? So taking a fiber supplement, absolutely, Metamucil will work if you drink that in your water before you eat, or if you drink that before bed. It'll help you sleep through the night, absolutely. The only, the next thing I'm saying is not to disparage the Metamucil method, as you would. But the only thing that I would say is that when we are trying to heal something, we have to be interested in getting the most bang for our buck. We have to also be interested in healing and getting to root causes. Now, if you just have the Metamucil, you will get the blood sugar benefits, absolutely. But you're not getting any benefits for your gut. You're not getting any benefits for the inflammation that have been a result of blood sugar issues. Now, instead, if you have, cucumber that's cut up, or maybe bone broth with some cooked vegetables in it, what you're getting is vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fats, potentially protein. You're getting so many things that not only help with the blood sugar, but they also help with gut health, bone broth, cooked vegetables, antioxidants, etc., and the inflammation. And so in a jam, absolutely, fiber supplement, go for it. Have it in your purse if you go to a restaurant, or bag, sorry, if you're a gentleman or someone who doesn't carry a purse. But have it with you so you can put it in a liquid wherever you are. Drink it down, and it helps you in a pinch. But as a general rule, I would say your fiber should come from whole food places. You will always find me saying that you want to get it from the source. To get to the root cause, you want to get to the root food, the root source. I think that's the most forward way to healing. But a fiber supplement can help in a jam, like before meals, I would say. Okay. How many times a day should you drink apple cider vinegar? I mean, if you're drinking it like at every single meal, then I'm going to start to ask you to look at your meals. Why at every single meal is it so unbalanced that you need to drink apple cider vinegar before them? Because it's like if every single meal you have in a day requires an apple cider vinegar starter, that might not be the best thing. So we should talk about that. But it won't hurt you because you're diluting it in water. But if you're having apple cider vinegar like 6 times, 7 times a day, that's probably overdoing it. And I, again, would be like, what are you eating that you aren't able to balance your blood sugar using other techniques? And it's always the apple cider vinegar. So, yes. Yes and no. I'm just going to take a sip of my water. Okay, the order with which different foods for breakfast. So, I always start the day with bone broth. I find it's the easiest thing to take in first thing in the morning. I can't eat right when I wake up. I'm just like I'm not in the headspace for it. But having something like bone broth, sometimes I'll add vegetables that have been cooked like last night. I have vegetables in the fridge. I'll just add it and toss it in there. I will do that. That's how I generally start. Then I will have I eat eggs, but I only eat the yolk. I don't eat egg whites. They make me feel nauseous, but the yolks don't. And that's where all the good stuff is anyway, so I'm okay with it. So I'll usually scramble some yolks, probably 3 egg yolks. Then I'll have vegetables, probably cucumber cut up. So I just love cucumber. I'll probably have some olives and then a piece of sourdough with butter on it, toasted. Unless it's nice and soft and fluffy, then I'll just have the butter on it untoasted. That's just a preference thing. And then I would have good idea, the sparkling water. I would have a cup of apple cider vinegar, water. And then I would have my coffee, which has my collagen creamer that has protein and fat and all that stuff in it. And that's usually how I start the breakfast. That's how I order the day. Everything comes before coffee. I never have coffee on an empty stomach. If I have coffee on an empty stomach, I'm either on vacation or that's the only time I've ever really done it is on vacation. Simply because it's if we're all going for coffees, I'm not going to not get a coffee. I'll see what I can do, but if I can't, it's vacation. But at home, I never have coffee before food, ever, ever, ever. Even if I'm having a coffee later in the day, because I just genuinely like the taste of coffee, I will have a salad before I have that coffee, or go for a walk after I have that coffee, out to do errands or something. And I do errands by foot. So that's kind of how I order my breakfast foods. I eat a lot in the morning. Sometimes, if my period's coming, I'm ravenous. Before the coffee, after before the apple cider vinegar, and after the eggs and sourdough and vegetables, I might have chia seed pudding. But it's mixed with yogurt, chia seed pudding, some yogurt, and I'll add some berries maybe, just for because I'm hungry. Because I like that to hold me, because I also wake up very early, I can't help it. And so I like to be held until around the lunchtime. If I don't eat enough, then I find that I'm hungry for lunch at 10:30. And it's not because my blood sugar is wonky, it's just because I ate breakfast at 7:15. But I find what I eat a lot, and it's really nutrient dense like that. And I make sure to balance my blood sugar through the coffee, because I love a sweet coffee. It's the only sweet thing I do, and I'm not changing. Then I need to eat a lot in order to get to 11:30, so that I'm eating lunch with at a normal time. It's okay, this is too much for me. So I hope that helps see how breakfast is going. Someone said I was diagnosed with type 2 in the last week of February. Love your TikToks. Thanks for keeping me sane. My pleasure. It's I also feel a lot of people right now, we're finding out that we have blood sugar stuff going on. I mean, and I think that the notion that we just have to drug our way out of it, we have to take medicine for the rest of our lives, I just don't think that's sustainable. It's probably the best word to use for that. I just think that, like, really, we're not going to try, like, lifestyle and food stuff. And I know that sometimes medication is good for people whose lifestyle and their food simply cannot change in this moment. Like, I get that. There are some people where it's like, they are not able to access the information, the knowledge, the skills, the whatever they need in order to get to what they need to do. And drugs are like the way forward. I get that. But I also believe that to just blanket tell people, well, you can't reverse type 2 diabetes, forget about it, is just like really like demoralizing. But I also feel like it's lazy because there's so many things that we can do about type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a whole different beast. I don't even talk about that. But type 2 diabetes, you absolutely can reverse. I will die on that hill. I will. You will find me dead, buried on that hill because that's how I believe. Just scrolling. Also, just remind everyone that all of these lives I put on my YouTube like the next day. So like yesterday's will go up today. Today's will go up tomorrow. It just like takes forever to upload because I live in an old house. So like it's like an old house but like renovated, but still the network in here poor. So it takes forever to upload. Do I recommend fasting? No. Unless it's for religious reasons. In that case, go off. I'm never going to comment on your religious practices. I believe what you do it. But fasting as far as like blood sugar and healing, here's the thing. For some people, it works beautifully. For men, fasting works like a dream. Like if a male client comes to me and says, I got to lower my blood sugar, I want to lose some weight, you know what I say to them? We're going to fast. And then when they do eat, we're going to make the most of those meals. They're going to be nutrient dense. They're going to be all of that. And they see results like that. Why? Because most of the studies were done on men and postmenopausal women who start to cycle circadian rhythm and not infradian rhythm like many of us who menstruate. So if you wake up in the morning and you are hungry and your body's like, I'm hungry, your brain is like, I'm hungry, and you don't eat and you force yourself to not eat, you are causing a cortisol response. What happens from that cortisol response is your sex hormones begin to be influenced. Once your sex hormones are influenced, we're talking painful periods, higher androgen count. Like there's so many things that can happen as a result of that. We don't want that. Now, if you're like, oh, well, I drink coffee the whole time and I don't have to eat till noon. Even worse, because coffee on an empty stomach is bad for your blood sugar. It's bad for your gut. It's just bad. And if you're experiencing symptoms of anything and you're fasting and it's not working for you, I would encourage you to start having breakfast. I just described how I start the day. I would recommend that. If you're someone who's like, oh my God, well, I don't get hungry in the morning. I wake up and I'm not hungry. That's not a good thing. That's actually a sign that your cortisol is up in the morning and in a place it shouldn't be. So what you need to start doing is forcing yourself. That's why bone broth is lovely in the morning. It's something you can sip. You can season it up like your favorite chicken noodle soup, but without the fillings and without the I was going to say innards, but that's not, but without the, the ingredients, just the broth. Sip that for the first hour of your morning. You got healthy fats, you've got protein, maybe there's collagen in it, stirring a little bit more collagen, and lovely. Because you need to start giving your body what it needs. This whole notion that things should feel hard and feel punishing is out of touch. I'm out of my mind about it. Because if you're hungry, you should eat. I don't know where we started deciding that when we're hungry, we should just not eat. That's not good for the body. It creates a distrust in the body because you're listening to what everyone else is saying, but you're not listening to your body. If your body says, I'm hungry, feed it. How you feed it, the food you feed it, the way you feed it, that matters, but feeding it is also important. So, no, I don't recommend fasting. Also, it's just painful. When I was fasting, I was terrible in the morning. Miserable. Just did not feel good. And you know what I'm about? Feeling good. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Someone says my content is amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Someone said keyword laziness. Yes, absolutely. I think it's just lazy medicaling to just prescribe people things and say, that's all you can do. Because they don't want to get into it with you. And that's unfair. So you got to get into it with yourself. I mean, that's one of the things that I learned the long way, was that no one was going to advocate for me more than me. And if I wanted to get some of the testing done, I was going to have to pay out of pocket for it. And I did. If I was going to get some of the knowledge, I was gonna have to like pay for courses or like do a lot of time researching, because I just kind of realized at one point, like, you guys aren't gonna give me what I want. You're gonna give me what you want, what makes it easy for you to treat me, not for me to live in my body. And so once I changed that perspective, I was like, okay, it's on me. I became my own best advocate. And I'm sure there is a folder somewhere that my doctor filled out during my healing journey that says I am difficult, because I was like, yo, you need to do this, that, and the other. And he just didn't want to. But I also thought, put it in the folder. Let them know I'm not playing. Okay. I was immediately put on metformin, but the dietitian from the hospital immediately said Ozempic. Well, Ozempic is the darling du jour of the drug world. Everyone is talking about Ozempic. I'm talking about Ozempic. I know people who are on Ozempic. I know people who are on Ozempic for like real things. I said that wrong. People who are on Ozempic for like diabetes and, like obesity. And then I also know people who are on it because they want to like kick off the last 10 pounds because we all have a wedding in the summer. But what I will say about Ozempic is this. If you do Ozempic and you see results, amazing. But what you need to make sure you do is understanding the mechanics by which Ozempic is working in your body so that you can replicate it when you come off of that. Because what Ozempic is doing, it is cutting off your cravings, it is balancing your blood sugar, and therefore you're not hungry in between meals, and you only eat what you need to eat because your brain craving center isn't popping. Now, when you get off Ozempic, you've got about a 1 to 3 month grace before your brain turns back on all of the things that Ozempic turned off. Now, if you don't know how to balance your blood sugar, your cravings are going to come back. Absolutely, 100%. If you don't understand why you were, maybe eating in the first place, or eating the things you were in the first place, or at the position you were in the first place, when your brain turns back on, and all of those cues come back on, you're not going to know what to do because you didn't seek to understand while you were on Ozempic. Ozempic is beautiful. I think it is actually giving so many people hope. And there's something about a positive feedback loop that begets more positiveness. Like you feel excited about exercise, meal planning, all of that. And so using that energy, like I said before, and that excitement of those positive results that you get while you're on Ozempic is key to helping you use that time wisely. It's the only thing that I would suggest if Ozempic has been suggested to you. It's not a bad thing. Like, some people who are like, it's cheating and whatever, like, fuck those people, honestly. Like, if you want to do it and it's going to get you the results that you want, amazing. I want that for you. But you need to know how it's functioning in your body, and also knowing your triggers, get into some therapy, do some like mindset work to understand what you're going to do on the other side. Because the worst part about Ozempic is gaining the weight back. That is like a spiral I would go down, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I don't want that for you. So that's what I suggest. But also, you can also do it naturally. You can. Again, more work. It's more than just a little shot in your belly once a week. You have to actually dedicate your time to really understanding and knowing, again, how to balance your blood sugar. You're doing the healing work that is required because of years of potential damage from blood sugar issues or gut issues. It takes a little longer, but can yield great results as well. Someone said, thankfully, my doctor was happy with my A1C. So no taking metformin this year. Yeah, metformin is also a tough one. A lot of people get put on that. That one you see also a lot in the PCOS community. Again, a blood sugar. It has an effect on your blood sugar. So again, understanding, like, going on these things is not a bad thing. If your body needs it and you're ready for it and you're like, I need off the loop, absolutely. But understanding that metformin and Ozempic deal with glucose helps you to then do the research and work that you need to do to understanding glucose, understanding your glucose and your blood sugar, so that it doesn't need to be a forever prescription, is the key about it. Thank you for sharing valuable information. You're welcome. I just want to make sure I don't miss any questions. If I miss your question, I'm sorry, but they just come in so long. Someone said Ozempic is meant to be long-term. Yeah, it is meant to be long-term, but there's a lot of people that are not doing it long-term. And that's the problem too. I mean, also if you want to do weight loss, like go the Mounjaro Wegovy way. Leave the Ozempic for people with type 2 diabetes. But again, I'm not here to judge your choices in that way. I'm just here to give you information about alternatives. That's really what I do. And I also work with people who are on Ozempic, who are, again, doing the work of understanding blood sugar and all of this stuff so that when their Ozempic journey ends, their results and their, like, this new lifestyle sustains those results. So like I said, that would be terrible. What about liraglutide? Ooh, not familiar with lots of liraglutide. I'll look into it and be back. Someone says you'll gain weight and then more. I presume you're talking about Ozempic and like after, if you go off of it. But again, I think that we need to just be more empowered to like understand both sides of the coin. Like I wish that when we were prescribed things, it would say, okay, this is a semaglutide. It is going to help with the craving center in your brain. It's also going to help with your glucose and blood sugar management. And so understanding what it's doing. So like when you take the semaglutide, what it does when you eat is it flattens your glucose curve. Understanding what the drug you're taking does allows you to be more proactive in sort of like being on it. So you again, understand if you can never come off it, whatever, but then you can understand like, okay, when you take this, it does have a little bit of an impact on the liver if you take it long term, or maybe it has an issue that causes problems with your thyroid. Like some people say happens with Ozempic. It's like, okay, well then maybe I'll wear castor oil packs on my thyroid, a couple times a week just to make sure my thyroid function stays good. Maybe I'll make sure my liver is good because liver is very connected to thyroid function. Like that's the way I think we should be prescribing like anything, to give everyone the full picture. So you're not just like, well, I guess this is fixing me, because it's not necessarily doing that. But again, I always have thoughts. I'm on Ozempic and want to stop and do weight loss naturally. I don't have type 2 diabetes, I think is what you mean. Well, you could join me. I have a lot of I do one-on-one coaching. I also have my programs, which help you understand, again, all the mechanics of what Ozempic is doing for you. Again, I am not the person to just say, get off Ozempic, but if you come and work with me and you're on Ozempic, we figure out a plan of while you're on Ozempic, an educational plan. So you're understanding what's going on. And then we also come with a maintenance plan. So if you've talked to your doctor and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and then the maintenance plan kicks off. I work with people on and off medication because my approach is whole food, lifestyle, all of that. It works in conjunction if you want to stay on your things. Because again, I'm not here to tell you to go off any medication. I would never do that because it's irresponsible. What I'm here to do is help your body just return to vitality, because that's, I think, where the root of health is if you're mostly feeling good, your gut is working, your liver is working, and you're taking a medication that you need, I think you can still achieve vitality and wellness within that space. I'll never, judge otherwise for other people. I'm not big in pharmaceuticals for myself, but just because my stomach cannot handle. Okay, so I've just been on meds for 2.5 months. When I go for my 3rd month checkup, I hope I can get off. I hope you can get off too, but you also have to ask yourself, what have you been doing the last 2.5 months? I hear this a lot with people where they're like, I want to get off my meds. I need to get off these things. It's well, what are we doing to get our body set up to get off these meds? Because your body has to really, the drugs are passing the baton to you and your body. And if you've done nothing in the 2.5 months except be on the drugs, then you're probably not in a position to go off them. Because your body is reliant on them to do the things it needs to do until you figure out a way to help your body do those things naturally. So, if you've been on it for 2.5 months and in your 3rd month is only 2 weeks away, I would encourage you to manage your expectation. Don't get discouraged, but manage your expectations and give yourself, 2 months, 3 months, not 2 weeks. You want to set realistic expectations in a natural healing journey, because if you set ones that are unrealistic, yes, I believe in dreaming big. I'm the number one person to say dream big, but you also have to be realistic, because if you keep disappointing yourself and getting disappointed, that's not good for your mindset, and that's not good for your healing either. Okay, we're coming up on noon, so get your questions in, get your last questions in, because I'm going to end this one, but I'll be back tomorrow. Someone says people have to make informed consent about what they take. Absolutely. And semaglutides buy you time while learning strategies and the learning strategies and the reasons that led us there. That's exactly it. Ozempic is great. I do think that it's like crazy how it's everywhere. The PR for Ozempic it's like a study. I hope they're studying it in universities because it is everywhere. Now, semaglutides, which is, there's many on the market, people just think of Ozempic when they think of the semaglutide. So, I just think the marketing has been like ace. It's genius. I've lost weight. I've changed my eating habits. My sugar is under 110 every morning. Okay. Again, so one thing I'll just say is, sometimes blood sugar, for like all of us, has to do with like lifestyle stuff more than food. Like food is so important, of course, but if you're still doing things and you've lost weight, like just because you've lost weight doesn't mean that your blood sugar like will necessarily change. Like again, because like I said before, there's I'm going to change that. You might have resolved the blood sugar issue, but there might still be inflammation, gut health, liver health. So because our liver is one of our most important glucose pathways in our body. Our muscles are the next best thing. And so if we have lost weight and your eating habits have changed, but your liver is still maybe overloaded from personal care products, medications you might be taking, or whatever the case is, that is still a detox pathway for your glucose, or just like a get it out of your body pathway that is blocked. And so again, it is about what we eat and how we eat it, but that's why I always say food and lifestyle. It's two things. Two things with many prongs within those two things. And that's why, again, when we just tackle like blood sugar, just take metformin, tackle the blood sugar. It's like, what's the root cause? Where are the root causes? So I always encourage people, if you're like, I'm doing everything and it's not working, again, try, as you might, to get all the answers that you can in the most affordable way that you can. But in those situations, you might need to level up to like a program, a coach, doing some GI mapping, doing a Dutch test, and having a naturopath read it for you, because that will really help you see the root cause. Blood tests are great, but blood tests will miss a lot of things, whereas your GI mapping which is stool, and your gut and your Dutch test, which is urine, tend to catch things that blood will miss. Someone says, why Wegovy and Mounjaro as opposed to Ozempic? Only because those ones are actually for weight loss. So they start at a higher dose, I believe. But then you also kind of leave the Ozempic for the people who have type 2 diabetes, because it's getting hard to get for some people. So that's why I say that. What can I do to lower my A1C on my next test? Well, I don't know when your next test is, but I would say that if you, before your next test, try and have 100 grams of protein in a day. So that means most of your meals are protein rich, fat rich. And you start those meals with apple cider vinegar and water. I would say if you have, maybe a month, 4 weeks, 5 weeks to your next test, you'll probably see some movement. But if it's in like a week, you might have to wait till the test after that. Again, realistic expectations. Okay. I just learned that sleep can impact blood sugar. Yes, it can. If you have a bad sleep, your blood sugar is going to struggle all the next day long. It will struggle because you are there's cortisol responses going on. You're tired, so you're just reaching for energy. So you want sweet, fast things. You just make really bad choices. And if you start your day on the wrong foot, so you have a bad sleep and then you have like a sugary breakfast, or maybe you have coffee on an empty stomach, your day is like shot unless you do some like real crawlbacks. Someone said my A1C is 11. What can I do to lower it? I think I just mentioned. Also, again, I've given lots of tips. These will all of this live will be up on YouTube tomorrow. Yesterday's live will be up today. Someone said she said I have 2 months before my next test. So that's a long time. So yeah. I can only sleep 4 hours without waking up. What can I do? You should have a snack before bed. So I think I have a video that's pinned about having a snack before bed. That's fat and protein rich because that will hold your blood sugar through the night. The person who said, what are my thoughts on vitamins like berberine? I love berberine. I love inositol. I like Myo and D-Chiro, like blend. I just did a video like 2 days ago, so it's like still like very close to the top that you can go and I talk about both of them. And how much protein? So 100 grams of protein a day. Not hard to do if you're like sneaking in the sneaky stuff like cottage cheese. There's breads that have high protein. If you're in the States, you have so many options. I would go to Trader Joe's. You'll find and Costco, everything you need. Like I'm actually planning a trip just to drive down to the United States just to buy things and drive them home because you guys have so many options. Okay, so I'll be back tomorrow for another live. Probably I'm just looking at my schedule at 10. So tomorrow I will be back at 10 a.m. for another live. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And if you want to join any of my programs, click the link in my profile. It's all there. There's my free newsletter that's there too. I can't wait to have you. I'll see you tomorrow.